Welcome to the Archaeology Studio. Today's episode considers Gadao's Cave in Guam, known for its concentration of white pigment pictographs. By the end of this episode, you will be prepared to discuss what those pictograph images represent and what the cave's setting could suggest about the ancient cultural context. You can consider the broader implications for studying similar cave sites in the surrounding region and worldwide. In the northwest tropical Pacific, Guam is the largest and southernmost of the Mariana Islands. The archaeological record extends at least as early as 1500 BC in these islands, but the particular site of Gadao Cave dates most likely at some point within a range of AD 1000 through 1700. The site is named after Gadao, remembered as a chief of the village of Inarajan at some point prior to the Spanish military operation of the late 1600s. At another side of the island of Guam, at the village of Tumon, the traditional chief named Malaguanya was renowned for his strength. Malaguanya was surprised to hear a story that Gadao in Inarajan was possibly stronger. In order to settle any question about who was the strongest chief of Guam, Malaguanya traveled to Inarajan to meet Gadao. At Inarajan, Malaguanya announced that he had arrived to challenge Gadao to a contest of strength. Gadao was there to meet Malaguanya, but he did not reveal his true identity. Instead, Gadao behaved as an ordinary person. Gadao offered a drink of fresh coconut. He then shook a tree until a coconut fell. Next, he opened the coconut with his hands, presenting two halves for Malaguanya. At this point, Malaguanya prepared to return to his home in Tumon, thinking that Gadao must be considerably stronger. If an ordinary person of Inarajan was strong enough to shake a coconut from a tree and open the coconut with his bare hands, then the chief of the village could be even stronger still. When Malaguanya departed in a canoe, Gadao offered his help in the paddling. Somehow, Malaguanya and Gadao paddled in different directions of the canoe. With their combined strength of paddling in opposite directions, they broke the canoe in half. Eventually, Malaguanya returned to his home in Tumon, while Gadao never had revealed his identity as the chief of Inarajan. In a larger view, contests of strength were popular themes in local traditions. Like the other traditions, the story of Malaguanya and Gadao relates most likely to a context predating the Spanish imperial wars and impacts of the late 1600s. Aspects of this story could be commemorated among the pictographs at Gadao Cave along the coast of Inarajan in Guam. Today, Gadao Cave is protected and managed by the Guam Historic Resources Division. The site has been listed in the U.S. National Register of Historic Places since 1974. Special laws and regulations apply when visiting the site. Additionally, traditional sites should be treated with respect for their past and present contributions. From the residential areas and farmlands of Inarajan, the terrain naturally slopes downward toward the shore of the embayment at the coast. The terrestrial silts and clays have accumulated over a much older limestone bedrock formation. The ancient limestone now is visible along the active shoreline among the coastal forest growth. Through the coastal forest, the site offers a view across Inarajan Bay. The bay opens to the east. Gadao Cave is on the north side of the bay. The outer edge of the limestone here reveals the classic parabolic shape of a tidal notch that must have been created during a time when the sea level was higher than its present condition. In Guam and the Mariana Islands, these tidal notches refer to an ancient high stand of sea level, about 1.8 meters higher than today, sustained from about 3000 BC through 1000 BC. In the bottom shelf of the tidal notch, grinding basins, or lusong, have survived as permanent parts of this landscape. This kind of feature is typical of special-use ritual areas such as caves, where the grinding basins were associated with various ceremonies. These ceremonial lusong in permanent places can be distinguished from their counterparts in portable cobbles and boulders at residential villages. Gadao Cave is accessible inside one portion of the ancient tidal notch. In this case, the cave could not have been used by people until after the sea level had approached its present elevation. The cave is a few square meters in size, and an adult can enter in crouched posture. During daylight, the interior is reasonably visible and illuminated, but of course, artificial lighting can help to clarify the details of the pictographs. The pictographs all were made with a white pigment, using a finger or small brush-like tool to apply the pigment onto the cave's surface. The white color can be attributed to slaked lime, made by burning coral or marine shell into a powder, then mixing it with water and possibly an organic binder that could adhere more strongly to the cave's surface. Generally in this region, white pigment pictographs have been associated with sites in a 700-year-long window of approximately AD 1000 through 1700. As in the other known sites with white pigment pictographs, most of the images at Gadao Cave resemble stick-line drawings of human figures in variable shapes and poses. Some of the images appear to be shapes other than human figures, although the specifically intended shapes are difficult to interpret today. The individual panels or clusters may have been created at separate times or for different purposes, but they consistently used the same pigment recipe, technical execution, and apparent relative size scales of the elements. The multiple components here could be conveying a narrative in visual form. The precise story or set of stories is unclear at this time. In other caves with white pigment human figures, the associated archaeological deposits have revealed evidence of ancient burials and ceremonial contexts, possibly linked with ancestor veneration and other beliefs. No such archaeological deposits have been found at Gadao Cave, although the exterior grinding basins or lusong are consistent with the ritual aspects of other caves. One panel at Gadao Cave appears to be unique in the region. Here, two human figures are shown with individual fingers and toes. Their bodies partially overlap each other, and one appears to be carrying something over a shoulder. The original meanings of the pictographs are open for interpretation. In any case, though, the elements can be observed and described, along with the larger site setting and context. This cave happens to be situated outside the residential village and farmlands of Inarahan, at the north edge of Inarahan Bay. The setting is consistent with ritual caves of Guam and the Mariana Islands, although the precise ritual activities are unclear today. Based on the surviving physical evidence, the cave can be interpreted as a place of ritual ceremony, used at some time during a period between AD 1000 and 1700, overlapping with local ethno-history. The multiple pictographs appear overall in a unified artistic style and technical execution. Similar findings in separate caves have been associated with burials, ancestral veneration, and other ceremonies. Confirming evidence, however, has not been found at Gadao Cave specifically. Among the possible associations of this cave, at least some of the elements could relate with the traditional history of Chief Gadao. Even without definite conclusions about Gadao Cave and its original intended meanings, the site surely can be appreciated for its artistic and technical qualities, as well as for its setting and context. Some of these mysteries begin to be clarified with a larger view of the region's archaeological record and the social roles of caves. Likewise, some of the unique aspects of Gadao Cave can be recognized and understood accordingly. In concluding this episode, now you should be familiar with Gadao Cave in Guam. You can discuss the pictograph images, the ancient site setting, and the implications for further studies. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you will explore more with the Archaeology Studio.